And Americans go to the polls come Tuesday, and economic issues likely to be on their minds. A key component of that, taxes. Congress adjourned last month without addressing the Bush-era tax cuts that are set to expire at the end of December. Well, our next guest says that could lead to an economic catastrophe. Economist Art Laffer has served in 3 presidential administrations, and Dr. Laffer famously invented the Laffer curve to explain the ratio between tax rates and government revenue. Art, great to have you back with Matt and me. So you say that this could lead to an economic catastrophe, the expiration of those Bush tax cuts. How much of a catastrophe and why?
Well, let me just say that if you know they're going to raise tax rates next year, what do you do this year? You accelerate all the income you can out of next year into this year. And what that will do is that will make next year look a lot worse than it should otherwise and make this year look better. We did something very similar to this in 1981, 82, 83, 84, with Reagan's tax cuts being postponed. And therefore, we delayed the recovery. 81, 82 was flat. And 83, 84 were huge growth rate years. And if history repeats itself, that means that delaying the tax increases will cause a collapse in 2011. It could be quite serious, by the way.
But let me ask you, Art, if you talk about just the tax cuts for the wealthy, as this administration defines it, does it really make that much of a difference? Because it's only a few percentage points on the marginal rate. So we did a study, I think, here at Bloomberg. Somebody who makes $500,000 a year is only going to be out a few $100 because of this increase. Does it really make that much of a difference?
Sure. Of course it does. These guys care more about taxes than anyone else on earth. These people have the ability to hire the lawyers, the accountants, the deferred income specialists, the congressmen, the senators. These guys have the ability to change the volume of their income, the timing of their income, the location of their income. They can do all of these things, the composition of their income, and they also determine where everyone else works as well. So these guys are the single most sensitive group anywhere to tax rate changes, and that's why this is the one group you shouldn't be doing it to. It's not because you want to make them richer. That's not what it's all about. It's really, these are the guys who provide the jobs for everyone else.
The concern, obviously, Art, is that we have this growing deficit and national debt ballooning.
Sure.
And the idea is to pay that off, right? So if we raise taxes, the administration wants to pay it off. You think that if we lower taxes, or at least the Laffer curve shows that we'll see revenue increase, tax revenue for the U.S. government increase. Yes. Do you think it would do enough to really help us?
Well, in the upper income groups, I really do think it would do a lot. If you put in a truly good growth agenda, a growth tax agenda, you could create economic growth in this country of incredible proportions.
But is it
Chinese-like.
Is it quantifiable? I mean, can you say if you cut the top income tax rate, or if you cut tax rate across the board 5%, then you're going to see a boosted revenue of 3 or 4% of GDP?
Well, you can do that, of course. I did a model back in 1978, 79 that was a quantitative model that gave the estimates just as you described. I mean, what you do is you have a paucity of data. As you know, Matt, it's difficult to get large samples. But, yeah, you can do that, and you can look at it. And most studies I've seen have shown very dramatic positive increases in output, employment, production, and revenues for the top tax rates.
Does any of this really matter unless we really just go after that budget, the federal budget, and just start slashing? I mean, isn't that what we really need to be doing here? I've got a few seconds left for you.
Yes, you're right. Totally correct. You can't pay people not to work and then expect them to work.
Exactly.
All right. Art, thanks so much for joining us. Art Laffer there.
Thank you.
We are going to take